You want to check it and see if you're on? Are you on recording? Okay, I think we both are.
Yeah, I mean, my screen's up.
Okay, all right. So first of all, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And even though it's not live, it feels like we're right here. So it's seeing you again from a distance. And the thing that I really felt when we first talked, I mean, I was kind of like listening to everybody else's story around you, the people that you were helping, and I couldn't really figure out what was going on behind the scenes. And the more that you came around to, all these little rummy cube parties or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept on hearing everybody else's story, how you helped them, and then it came about how you came into our lives and your story. And so that really fascinated me, your brilliant mind and everything. It's like people have to know about this. So I'm glad you came on. And let me start out before I get started with you. I know, and I want to touch base. I want you to touch base on your background and who you are. But first and foremost, this amazing machine or system that you call it, that is helping so many people.
Right.
And even with today's issues, it's like, but what really struck me is, I know we have common friend with the PTSD. There's been the lady that I met that just lost her 11-year-old son.
Yeah.
Suicide. He was watching a little video to tell him how to do it, and so I encountered these stories firsthand and how it's helping people that are with the flu and cancer and the prescription medicine, chronic pain issues. Those are really key things that touch me because I like helping people, and to me these are really key issues. And I know that it goes so far more than this, like depression and anxiety and everything like this. But my key things, and I just want you to really touch base on the key things that really matter to me the most. And then you can tell about the other things. So why don't you start a little bit about your background?
Well, I want to start out. This is Rick Gallant. I don't know if everybody knows who you're talking to. So Rick Gallant and the company I started 10 years ago is called Biosound Technologies. So how this all came about with me was through a personal journey of uh, of despair, and then desolation, and then despair, and then, I mean, you hear the common term crash and burn. And, there was always this hole in my heart or hole in my soul that I couldn't fill. And I tried to fill it with other things. And I came back to the Lord. I want to start off with that. I came back to the Lord 10 years ago. And boy, just my life transformed. I was in a place, like I said, of despair and desolation. I didn't know where to turn. I even considered, you know, uh, the worst alternative. And then I couldn't do anything like that because my family. And so I reached out and got some help. And I am a recovering alcoholic. And I've been in recovery 10 years, sober, clean and sober for 10 years. I never really got that involved in drugs, but I tried a lot of different things. And, that's my recent life past. I was always functional. I always had a job, had a roof over my head, and, put food on the table. But I had a big problem for years and years. And it took me that long to overcome it. I did get sober back when I was, well, probably about 30 years ago, and stayed sober for a year and a half. And and then kind of wandered, and it took me a long, long time to come back.
I know that your whole family, it seems like your whole family line were all alcoholics too, right?
Well, there's a lot of alcoholism in the family, and yeah, I had four crazy brothers and and three beautiful sisters, and that's the way. I don't know the age group of the people I'm talking with, but back in those times, that's the only way that things were done was, and my dad, God bless his soul, he was a good man, but he had the problem, and so it runs back to generations. It is a genetic disease, but people do recover with help, and I found the right avenue for that, and
So I
so
know you had some chronic pain issues, things like
I
that.
I did. I had some issues, some back issues. I had a herniated disc in my back, but that's not how I originally, I went to the Lord to solve my emotional issues, and to he would that was all that was left for me, is I knew where I needed to go, but when I finally got there, it was an amazing transformation. It was unreal that it was like an overnight transformation. And
So instantly quit drinking?
I'm sorry.
Did you instantly quit drinking?
I did. Well, I white knuckled it, what they call white knuckling it. I white knuckled it for 3 months prior. On top of everything else, I had, as Deborah, I'll share my personal history with heart disease. So at that point in time, I mean, I had a heart attack at 38 years old, and I shouldn't be here. There is no way. I really found my purpose, and I'll tell you, I'll make this statement that when you find your purpose in life, it's an amazing thing. It's just amazing, and I had to go on that journey to get there. And my purpose turns out to not. I always looked at myself. I was self-serving and all about me, me, me.
I
And
don't,
now I discovered. I'm
I don't mean to cut you short, but it's like, since I only have a limited time with you, I know that, when we find help, we can help other people. And
right.
your story is, through all of this, they get a little taste of what you experienced. So
Right.
um, let's touch base now on how you created this
Yeah.
invention.
Right. Okay. So you want to move to how biosound came into being.
Yes.
So after this transformation, just things started opening up. It's amazing. The world kind of opened up for me, and I was looking for ways to help myself through through recovery and stay sober. And one of the things I came across is sound healing and music and vibrations, and I started researching that. The right people came along, and I had some partners originally, and we put this together. And we, being how I was, we started out in the addiction treatment field because it was a natural way to go. And I knocked on doors and brought the system. It was primitive back then, but it did the job. I'd bring it into treatment facilities and detox centers and just have them let me demonstrate it. And, their big problem would be keeping people in treatment who would typically leave. And I would just say, bring me someone you feel like is going to leave the facility because they're just, they're jonesing for drugs or alcohol or whatever. And boy, it just kept people in treatment that needed the help. And so that grew. throughout the years, we're in probably about 180 treatment facilities around the country as far as addiction treatment goes. And then in the last 4 or 5 years, we kind of organically grew the company into other areas where we could help people, just people that maybe didn't have addiction problems, but had stress, had pain, and those kind of issues and symptoms. And we just kind of grew into general health and wellness and chiropractic, and even were approached by some police chiefs at a conference they were at, to bring the technology to first responders, because they have a terrific problem with suicides in that field. It's untreated trauma. So, that's how we got to where we're at now. So we're in wellness centers and chiropractors, and it's a combination. It's a combination of therapies. It's evolved into biofeedback. It's got the music, the vibrations. It's got a biofeedback program, guided meditations, over 22 hours of content, and it's such an experiential thing that people want to come back. And we've got research on it because we've developed a proprietary program to measure outcomes. So a provider can now show their patients, the improvement, and so that's where the symptom decrease improvements came from, that you would see on our website. There's research behind it. We had one of our providers. She was addiction treatment, had 2 all-female facilities, and she wanted to get her doctorate, and she actually got her doctorate on biosound and how it affects PAWS. And what PAWS is, PAWS, is post-acute withdrawal syndrome. So she got, she had to go in front of the review board and show what biosound therapy was doing for her clients and patients. And so it's, I'm open for questions if this is the time. Or Deborah, do you want me to, is there something else you want me to touch on? Or
I know that it's pretty confidential, like all the people that you've helped and things like that. But I know that the list is growing, that you've tested on what it does help, and you're getting a lot of positive feedback. And the cancer part of it, I know that you found that helps as well. And
I want to interject there.
Okay.
Okay, so when we were talking about the cancer, first of all, we don't claim our system to be a medical device at all. It's a wellness device. We treat symptoms. So we are not making any claims on cancer. The machine that I was talking with you about and shared with you was something that I use on a personal, and I know other people use on a personal basis for the medical things, but it's under the radar. It's a long story about frequencies and Rife frequencies and how they were developed, but that's entirely separate from biosound technologies. I don't really bring that into biosound, but I can share that information with people and the amazing results and the history of, it's called Rife, R-I-F-E, frequencies, and a personal story about it and what it did for me. And so I have documented proof that worked for me, but I can't bring it. I can share it with people, but I share it on a personal basis, and I can refer people where they can go and get that technology and look into it some more. And so I wanted to make sure that was clarified, because we don't claim any kind of medical success with biosound. We treat the symptoms, and we have that information posted and the research and all of that. So we have to be very careful, because number one, we don't treat people ourselves at all. And then you're right about the HIPAA laws. So we have to be careful about, we can share testimonials from people. We never use last names. And so, and again, we don't make any claims as far as curing anything or diagnosing diseases or anything to replace conventional, uh, your conventional medicine or doctors and all that. So I wanted to clarify that before we went too much further.
There are several locations around that have the system set up. I know that, I saw the one you had in your office, of course.
Right.
I know that there are several locations all around the US. And, like whatever, like chiropractic offices, they have them, some of them.
Yes.
And
Yes.
anxiety centers. And I know there was a whole list of things that it kind of helped. So, like,
Yes.
can you give a rundown on
You're
the?
sure. Sure. Yeah. What it's been effective for is stress, depression, anger, racing thoughts, um, pain, back pain, headaches, muscle tension. Um, so not just the physiological, but the physical aspects of what people deal with. So we have a center not far from you, Deborah, that if you talk to her, she's an LMHC, she's a licensed mental health counselor, and she works with people who are at risk of suicide. And she will tell you, she's absolutely certain that she has, instead of having to admit people that were on that point, at that point in their lives, having to admit them to a hospital or try to get them admitted to a hospital, that she would do a biosound session with them, and she said it's a miracle. She says it's life-saving for her. Now those are the kind of anecdotal, from not just from people who have used it, but the providers were using it and sharing it with their, and just for the patients.
I saw where it helps like weight loss as well. So,
Well, we have again, we don't make those claims. We have we have over 22 hours of content on that. So we had a chiropractor ask us, that's guided imagery. So in other words, it's guided meditation. So someone talking to you, we have a whole pain control protocol where the music gets, here's the concept, here's the important concept behind biosound. If you can quiet the mind, you can get a message through. So the techniques we use to get the mind slowed down and get anybody who's been in a situation like I described about myself where I was, knows that you just can't turn your brain off. Your brain is going 1,000 miles an hour and you can't turn it off, and you're not sleeping. And so people want to talk to you about how to help you. You're not hearing it. You don't hear a thing. And so this is important. Of the basic therapeutic concept of biosound is that we use some techniques. It's called brain entrainment, but simply it's just some simple techniques, nothing harmful, intrusive, to slow the brain waves down. So once you get the brain waves slowed down, it's like a semi-conscious state. We've had people describe it as, oh, I felt like I was coming out of surgery and out of anesthesia. We've had all kinds of comments. I felt like I went to another place. I was meditating. They were actually in another state. As far as brain waves and as far as people who meditate, that's where they get. And then you can deliver that message of how they can help themselves. And we have, again, 23 hours of content, how they can help themselves. But you're delivering it to a quiet mind. And that's very important. And it absorbs in that mind. And it's like anybody will tell you, you do affirmations. Eventually, after 21 days, they'll stick. And so it's based along those lines. But when you can do that, then people will start to help themselves, because that's the whole idea. And that's part of the biofeedback program also, is to help themselves. So to answer your initial question about weight loss and all that, that's guided meditation. So how can you do better controlling what you're putting in your body, or eating healthier? Smoking cessation, same thing. How can you, there's techniques you can use. Breathing is one of the basic techniques. Our biofeedback program has those 3 simple techniques to get yourself what we call into the zone. And when you're in the zone, you're physiologically coherent. And that just means that your system's working better, that you're focused and balanced. So we teach that people can use post biosound. You don't have to be in the system, but these are techniques that you learn. And you're so much more willing to learn it when you're in that state of mind, when you're in that relaxed state of mind.
The frequencies, the sound frequencies.
Yes.
It's very interesting to watch it. And, I know that you can really blow my mind away with all these medical terms and things like that I don't understand, but it's just really cool, because it's like something you never have thought about even. And to know that how things work like that is amazing.
Well, recently, sound healing has been researched more and more. It's becoming more and more acceptable to the conventional medical community. And 40 hertz is an amazing There's been some research on that you can find that is incredible what sound healing can do. But 40 hertz is one of the frequencies that we deliver through the bed, and there's plenty of research behind that. And then the music we use solfeggio, and I don't want to get too technical, but they're healing frequencies. So this, sound healing's been studied, and it's becoming more and more acceptable in the conventional medical fields, just like anything else that there was resistance to start with, like acupuncture and things like that, conventional people who are clinicians are typically see things in a tunnel vision way and what's by the books. And now they're starting to think outside the box a little more with alternative therapies, because they see that, writing prescriptions, that's not help, that's killing people, or starting them on that path. And so, opioids, everyone knows what we're dealing with the opioid crisis. So even the conventional, we're supposed to be putting one in a hospital. It'd be our first hospital out in Houston soon. And so people in that field are becoming more and more aware and accepting of alternative modalities and integrative health.
So how many different frequencies are considered? Because I think in the little research that I was doing, it's like every area has its own specific frequency, right?
Yes. Well, yeah, there's something called solfeggios. Solfeggio frequencies were rediscovered. The ancients used those. A lot of the things that they're becoming more and more prevalent on the market today, like herbal medicines and all that, they've been used for eons by the ancients. And they used to use these frequencies called the solfeggios, and their actual frequencies came out of the Book of Numbers. It's very, very interesting how solfeggio frequencies were developed and then just kind of disappeared and were rediscovered. And they run from 396. There's 6 of them, 396 to 856, and they're all based on things, on energy centers and things that they knew about all these years ago. And if you're a musician, you probably heard of solfeggio frequencies, but if not, you could Google it. We have some information on it also. But yeah, they're healing frequencies that were rediscovered and have been used, in the last 40, 50 years, but, kind of under the radar. There's a lot of things under the radar that people aren't aware of, and this is one of them.
Well, I just wanted to touch base on that. And since our time is limited, I just wanted to maybe, I know your heart is to help other people. So if they do contact me, I mean, I think you said it was okay for them to contact you as well for more help.
Sure,
Okay,
sure. I could give you my contact information now.
that's okay.
Right.
We can do it later. Okay.
Okay.
You can just let me know.
Yeah,
But
you can refer them to me.
okay.
I
And
don't know how many people we're talking to.
well, I don't either. But
Okay.
the thing is, we both have the heart to help other people. And since you have, you came from this, and it helped you. And so now you know how to help other people. And so I know that that's your heart. And so that's what I appreciate about you. So I just want to thank you for just sharing. I know, firsthand that your life wasn't so, good, and how
No.
it's really affected your health. And now even I think your son is part of your business now too.
Yes, my son is my right-hand man now, and he's been with me for since about 2013. And then we have some distribution in different areas of the country, some distributors, and we have some staff here to put things. We do it all here in Clearwater, Florida. We assemble the unit, and we do everything. You've been in our office in Clearwater. Yeah, so we're blessed. We're blessed that we can do this. Like I say, it just, yeah, helping people is so satisfying to me, and I'm so grateful that God put me in this position to do that. And it's really, the things we hear, the testimonials, I mean, directly from people who have had real issues, and overcame them. And you met one who had just lost her son to suicide at our office. And, she's been back. She's always welcome. And she's been back several times. So, yeah, it's things like that, and things like, what we've seen personally. We don't do too many demonstrations in the facilities anymore, but what I remember seeing and how it personally impacted me to see the effect of what we were doing on people, on individuals, on young kids.
The COVID, how the first responders and things like that, how it's actually helping, right?
Oh yeah, we actually had a conference call. We have a couple of fire departments that are, we're new to that space, and there's a time cycle with getting them into government facilities. But we have a couple of fire departments and police department right now, and then we're scheduled to do a study with Pasco County here in Florida, which is a county fire agency. They have over 600 firefighters. We're gonna we got a researcher who's going to help us do the study, and then the state's involved also. So that's exciting for us that we can start helping those who help us. I mean, the first line for us, the real heroes and everything, the men and women of the police and fire. And they're dealing with trauma on a daily basis. I mean, untreated trauma is what's driving the suicide rates in those. It's just untreated. And it's getting better. They're becoming more and more open to it, but it was always used to be the tough guy and they could take anything and all that. Well, that's not the case. And so it's going to be incredible to get it out there in that space and to help those people. So it's just exciting.
Well, I just really appreciate your time, and
Yeah.
try to get the word out, and all the help. I mean, if we can help other people, why not, right? Why keep it
Oh
to
yeah, no, that's the purpose. That's why I'm here.
Okay. Well, it's nice seeing you again.
Same here, Deborah. Thank you so much, and thanks to everyone who's listening for your interest in biosound. And you can always go to our website to biosoundhealing.com.
Right.
So you enjoy yourself up there and keep in touch.
You be back soon.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.